Nice to see you. To see you, nice. So welcome to live stream. If this is the first time you've ever been on a live stream before, I'll explain to you how it works. You can ask me questions through Skype. My Skype address is lisacairns12, and you can either ask or you can call in. And if you call in, you have to use your headset with microphone to make it audible for other people. Like if we don't have a headset, it can echo. And also make sure you've got good connection if you want to call in. You can also write questions as well. And I don't always get time to answer all of them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. What else? I do these streams every Sunday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. French time, and all you have to do is log on to my YouTube channel and you will see me there. It will say live. So it's, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell for notification and turn on your email notifications, and then you'll get emails every time I go live, so you can follow me that way as well. If you want to attend any of my events, the next event I'm doing is in London this coming weekend, I think the 20th of July. I think it's nearly full up, but there's a couple of places left if you want to book. That's in Notting Hill. And then after that, I'm doing a retreat in northern Germany. Just be aware, if you are thinking of going on it, that the owner of the hotel, as they come closer to the event, he will release the rooms to other people. I'm doing talks at a hotel. It's a spiritual hotel and it's really beautiful, but you don't have to stay there. You can stay anywhere you like. So if it's too expensive for you, you can stay somewhere cheaper, you can camp, you can do whatever you want to do. Yes. I always like to sit in silence for 5 or 10 minutes in the very beginning. If you want to watch some of my videos that are edited and so you don't sit in silence and there's not this break, or you just see short clips, there is another YouTube channel. It's associated with this one. It's called Video Clips Lisa Cairns, and you can also subscribe to that, and then it's edited videos. Yes. Sorry, I'm still here, guys. I just there, lost my camera. So what is love? That is the title today. What is love? So to me, there's two different things that we call love. There's the absolute, and then there's the relative. Hang on, my computer is just freaking out. I'm just going to see if I can force quit some things. So we've got the absolute love, and then we've got the relative love. So we'll just talk about the absolute first of all, and then we'll talk about relative love, like the love between humans. So on the absolute level, love is who you are. Love is what's happening right now. It's that which is looking out. It's that which is experiencing. Sorry, when I go silent like this, well, I'm not sorry, but just so you know what's happening, is that I just get big waves of bliss, and that bliss doesn't come with the urge of speaking. And my intention is to be genuine. I do not fake things, like to always be as genuine as I can, like just not to speak because there's people listening, even though that's like the traditional thing to do, and some people might feel like I've come here to listen to you speak. But we've always got to be as genuine as we can, with obviously taking in other people's feelings. But for me to speak now when I don't feel like it, that would be really ingenuine of me. And you can pick up on that, and you can feel that energy. This might create speaking, like this subject might create speaking now. Like in some ways, what is there to speak about? Because all there is what's happening. But this, what is? This life experiencing itself. And that's free in itself. So what's wrong with sitting in silence? Like, so if you're sitting here, just notice what's happening. That the mind wants something to do, the mind wants something to think about, it wants something to understand, it wants something to follow, because there's a feeling of being uncomfortable. There's a feeling that there's something not quite right here. But what you've always done is you've always followed that feeling, and you've always tried to find something to do. So the feeling's always said there's something better, like I've got to listen to a talk, I've got to go and eat now, I've got to have sex now, I've got to go and run a marathon, I've got to climb Mount Everest, I've got to get a better job, I've got to do all these things. So what's happened is that inside you, you've always followed this momentum to look for something better than what's happening, rather than just relaxing into what's happening. So whatever's happening now is what is. So if you've got feelings of discomfort, that's what's happening. It's simply feelings of discomfort appearing. And then the mind says there needs to be something else, there needs to be something better. I need something more than this situation right now. This is unsatisfactory. I need more. I need my pills. Because I need me to be something worthwhile, something worthy, something lovable. I need me to be a better image, a better image, a stronger image than it currently is. And if I don't do anything, if I just sit here, if I just let everything slide, then I'm not worthy, and I'm not capable of being loved. So here we are, just in this, nothing more. Just here. And right here is love. Right here is what you look for. Right here is everything you ever wanted. Just in this. The sound of the breeze, the feeling of the bum on the seat, the breeze on the skin. It just doesn't feel like it's everything you look for, because there's this seeking momentum going on. There's an identification with the body, identification with the self, and then there's this momentum that's always trying to get somewhere better, that has an image of itself and is always trying to improve that image, is always trying to get things for that person and make that person better and bigger and greater. What have you got right now? Like right here, what do you have? You have these ideas of what you have. So you have an idea that you have a house, that you have problems, you have children, you've got a life, that you should be doing this or you should be doing that. That you were born in 1960 and you're going to die when you're past 80. That you're British or French or American or Canadian. What are you trying to be? What are you trying to do now? What do you want now? A super important question. What do you want now? You want to be here? To be this? Or you want to be something, to be somebody, to maintain something? Just feel all that energy coming out of your body as you just sit here. It just loosens. See if there's fear, or if there's agitation, or if there's thoughts like, come on Lisa, speak, speak, give me something. Just notice that then I become a drug to you. And that's not love, trying to take things from another. Love is giving. Love is, on the human level, to be in a state of giving. That doesn't mean giving away all your possessions or all your things, but energetically not trying to suck love from the other, to squeeze love out of the other, to take love from the other. It's appreciating them for what they are, seeing the beauty in what they are. And if you get pleasure from them, you get pleasure, but it's not about trying to get it. It's just letting them be as they are. Trying to get something off someone isn't love. Trying to take something from someone isn't love. Love is being yourself. And in that you give. In that giving happens. So what is it to be yourself? So being yourself can only happen when you connect with who you are, which is everything. When you know who you are, when there's this energetic shift, and then it's life acting every action. It's life doing every action. It's life moving the hand, it's life moving the body, it's life moving the heart of everything. And then in doing that, it creates this unique personality structure. So this unique personality structure called Lisa or called Harold or called Andrew, however it might be. And these personality structures are the way that life is experienced through. And then what happens in the human level is that after that realization happens, then there's a change that happens in the human. The momentum, the seeking energy that's always trying to find love in the future, trying to maintain a constant sense of pleasure and avoid pain, so to avoid fear or negative emotions, that falls away. There might be remnants of it left afterwards, so that falls away. And then the remnants of that, or the personality structure, begins to change and settle more and more into just being itself, whatever that might be. So in every moment, it's just acting out what it feels. It's angry if it's angry, it's sad if it's sad, it's happy if it's happy, and it's not trying to live up or trying to be an image of itself anymore, and trying to seek to maintain that image. So when it's laughing, and then it will orientate itself, so the body will orientate itself into situations where it can be more itself. So it will do things which allow it to be able to relax and to be more as it wants to be. But maybe I take questions now. I think there's much conversation that's strongly coming. Hi Shirley, hi Lisa, thanks for bringing me back to silence. I booked for your event on Saturday, but now really disappointed I can't make it anymore. If there is anyone in London who would like my ticket, I'm happy to pass it on to them. Hope I can get to meet you in person another time. Oh, that's really sweet, Shirley. Thanks for that. Hi Susan. Depression is here now and many aches in the body. I welcome any words you have to share. Love is still here in this. Yeah, I'm just going to go and get an ice pack for my computer. I'm worried that my computer is going to die if I don't cool it down. And I will answer that when I come back, Susan. Back. So depression appears, Susan. So I take these questions so seriously, like, oh, my camera's out again. There you go. So I take these questions so seriously, and I try not to answer things in a dogmatic way, like give you the typical answer about depression and things you could say about it. I try to like find a really honest and genuine answer. Like when I'm answering questions, I'm not trying to look into my mind for what I've learned. I've learned so many things and I know so many things. I try to find something in my heart, like to really genuinely answer you. So depression feels bad, and when you're in depression, I assume what's happening is you're having lots of negative thoughts and all your chakra systems are tight simultaneously. There might be the solar plexus, I presume, will be the primary discomfort. But more than likely the whole chakra system will be squashed, so your body will just feel tight and uncomfortable, and you'll feel exhausted, and you'll feel like you can't do anything, and you don't want to get out of bed, and you don't want to do anything. So what to do in that situation? I don't know how bad your depression is, but I have spoken to you on and off through the years, and I know it's something that comes back and goes. If I was in that situation, me personally, I would put my body into a retreat center or an ashram or somewhere where there was lots of positive energy around me, and there was a structure that I had to follow every day, and I would just get lost in that for a year or two. And I would carry on listening to non-duality. And I would let the power of the group pull you out of it. It's the last thing a depressed person wants. What a depressed person wants to do is hibernate. But I think that's the worst thing you can do. So to me, I didn't really have depression, but when I was like 26, I don't know what happened, but I did take a lot of LSD. And I used to call it this existential terror used to come on. It was like the worst I ever felt in my life. And I was also into this subject, so I'd also had many awakenings, and they say the dark night of the soul comes up. And I was just so, like, everything felt so meaningless, like life felt so unbearably meaningless. And what I did was I went to India. And luckily when I went to India, actually, just as I went there, there was 2 girlfriends I knew from school were going, so we all went together for a couple of weeks. So it introduced me to India. And then I went to see Ramesh Balsekar, and and it shifted. Like, everything shifted, began to shift. And I just completely changed things, like got out of my normal situation for a period. So that would be my most honest answer that I can give you. So I'm not going to give you any non-duality or any practical information about the chakras, because when your whole body is in shutdown and lockdown, like, there's nothing I could do to possibly shift that. Like, I suspect that you know about the chakra systems. I suspect you know about non-duality by now. And but the power of the group. So when I've traveled around, I've stayed with many people and I've learnt many things. And the biggest thing I've found, like, I'm not a fan of like ashrams or organizations like that for getting enlightenment. But what I have discovered is that like, from talking to people, like, people have gone into these environments, like these ashrams or these organizations or groups or retreat centers, or communities. They've gone into them with like chronic depression where they could barely get out of the bed in the morning, and within a year it's totally healed. And I do think these are it's a really good way to heal yourself. Like, so when I went to India, I also spent a lot of time at the Osho ashram, so it gave me routine, it gave me structure, and it gave me positive energy to be around and groups that I was doing. And the reason it is because when depression strikes, it's basically telling you that you're the worst person and that everything you do is wrong, and your whole system is like, your chakras are all shut down. And the more that you stay by yourself, the more that energy is going to be perpetuated. You're not going to break it by yourself. But when you go into a group, they force you out of it and they force you into activity. And bit by bit, as you do that activity, you begin to have more positive stories of yourself and you see yourself in better light. And then also you've got the group to encourage you and support you. So then you end up doing like 8 hours of work. It's super helpful, this kind of like routine and structure. And also you can just give up. You give that structure to other people. There's not something complicated that you have to do. And there's many of organizations around the world in which you can deposit your body for very little money. Deposit your body. Yeah. That would be my recommendation. But funny enough, most people that have depression, when I suggest this, they're really anti it, because depression gives you the feeling that you don't want to move, and it also gives you anxiety. So the anxiety of being around people, like, you just want to hibernate in your bed, and it's the opposite that you should do. You have to move out. Thank you for your question, Susan. Okay. Is there anyone wants to phone in? Just say yes on Skype if you want to phone in. Hello, Lisa. I feel like talking to someone. Please, can you expand on your statement in an earlier talk that the energetic shift is beyond the person? Are you saying that it happens on a much deeper level and then comes through the person experiencing it? Is there something we can do in terms of meditative practice to influence and accelerate this process? So this is a great question. So who you are is actually everything, and that everything is nothing. But that's way too complicated for us to put into words. So in Buddhism, they would say that who you are is emptiness, appearing as fullness, and fullness, which is emptiness. But that's way too complicated to comprehend on the intellectual level. But maybe you can get sense of it energetically when I say that. So everything is this emptiness now. But what we can say is we can use an intermediate stage, where this stage, that we can call it beingness. Beingness is that I am, not I am the body, not I am something, that sense that this is, this amness, this sense that it's happening. And we can also talk about consciousness. So these two fundamental elements, when you explore them, you'll actually find that they're not separate from everything. They're not separate from anything. They're not something that belongs inside the body. They're actually everywhere and everything. And they're nothing. They're not a thing. Like you can never capture consciousness in a jar, or beingness, that sense that this is happening in a jar. You can't be like, I got it, got consciousness. And then another one, I am, got them. You'll find that they're not a thing. They don't exist anywhere. Now, some people argue that consciousness arises in the brain, and some people say it doesn't. It doesn't matter. We're just talking about your direct experience to point out this oneness, this wholeness that we are. And then eventually you can begin to let go of those concepts, and then it just becomes mystery. It's like everything is, and there is no separation in it. But they're perfect concepts in order to be able to talk about this on a little bit more of a simpler level. So right now there is consciousness, like you're looking at me, and there is something that knows that you're looking at me, and in that there is thoughts appearing that describe it. So there is this consciousness. So there's this instantaneous knowing, like it doesn't take any time for that consciousness to know this body, to know this sofa, to know the wall, to know the computer. It's not even named, it just is. Like you're not sitting there naming the computer, it just is. You could actually say it's mystery. In that level, in the recognition of consciousness, it's a mystery. But then your mind interprets it and says, I'm listening to Lisa, I like her, I don't like her, I'm watching her through the computer, I like my computer, I don't like my computer. So then you've got this thinking, which the consciousness is aware of. What happens in the human is there is an identification with the thinking, and it gives the feeling that that person is conscious and that person is alive, and that person has this sense of beingness as well, the sense that it's alive. So it's got consciousness and the sense that it's alive, and then it feels like that person looks out of the body, that person looks out and experiences life. Whereas actually the consciousness and that sense of beingness are prior to the person. They happen before the person. It's a lie that you on the human level are conscious. It sounds so abstract, but it's a lie that you are conscious. You are not conscious. You are not alive on the human level. The person, the personality structure is not experiencing, it's interpreting. The consciousness is behind that, registering that person. Like knows instantaneously. So that's really profound. So actually it means that that consciousness and that beingness doesn't belong inside the body. That consciousness and beingness is in all things. It's in what it's experiencing. It might feel like it's behind, and then there's this person it's watching, and then it sort of shines out, but actually your recognition is in the sounds, it's in the appearances, it's in my face, it's in the computer. Like, can you find in this moment this point where your consciousness ends and my face begins, where the sound of my voice begins and your hearing ends? Or is it all in the experiencing happening in one experience? Like one experience, not a divided experience. So then the question is who is it that wakes up? So you're asking me like, how does that person accelerate it? But that person's not alive. Who is it that wakes up? So who is this person that you think's going along in time? It's a functioning that's appearing just like a train appears or a car appears or another person appears, but it's not actually alive, it's not conscious, it's not registering. So who is it that could do an activity to arrive somewhere? Because who do you think is going to arrive? Who are you? Then if we zoom in into the personality structure, so then we look at the person, we can work on ways to settle the person down. Like when the person's deeply suffering and deeply contracted and deeply into itself, then it's really difficult to hear that you're everything, that you're bigger than that. So you can meditate, but you've got to understand that meditating is what settles down the person. And yeah, maybe if the person settles down, then that can be heard easier. Like if you're suffering and thinking and identified loads, then how can you speak about something bigger than you? It's too noisy. But who is it that arrives at awakening? Who is it that will get enlightened? Who? Who wants to get somewhere? Nice. Thanks for your question, Paul. Hi, Carmela. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Anesthesia. Hi, Lisa. I have a question about chakras. After our session, Anastasia, sorry, not anesthesia, sorry. That's my dyslexia. It does embarrassing things sometimes. Whatever I direct my attention to the sacral chakra, there is a lot of crying coming out. It's very weird, like something is being squeezed out. Any comments? Yeah, that's really typical. That's really that's the way it should be. So the reason that the crying's coming out is because there's a release coming from that chakra. And your job is just to investigate what that sadness is. So just put your attention into the sacral chakra when it's happening, and just ask what you're crying about. Why am I sad? And you can put it was the sacral chakra, wasn't it? Yeah, so you can put the thoughts on there, like just knowing a bit about the chakras. You can push it a little bit to see. So you can say, like the sacral chakra tends to be, I'm afraid, I can't create, I don't have power, bad things are going to happen to me. There's something to be afraid of. Yeah, so the sacral chakra is mostly about fear, about not having power, not having creativity. But predominantly a form of fear or anxiety. And it's negative, like lack of creativity. I'm trying to think what else it could be. Lack of intimacy, maybe. But that is sexuality, that is creativity as well. So you just investigate that, and then at some point during the day, when the sacral chakra isn't in such a negative feeling, you can try and encourage it into the positive. Like, I'm strong, I'm capable, I can do things. And you can envision what you want. Like, I want to do this today, I want to clean the house, I want to make money, I want to eat really nice food, I want to cook a family meal. You can begin to envision what you want and what makes you feel positive, and also say those positive things about yourself. And that's just helping it come more and more to being neutral, rather than a lot of people's chakras. So our chakras are meant to be in a neutral state, and then when positive things happen, they glow into positivity, and negative things, they glow into negativity. But what happens for a lot of people is they get stuck in the negative. And the reason they get stuck in the negative is because you're always living up to an idea of yourself, and you're always telling a story of yourself, and it tends to be negative stories that we tell of ourselves, not positive ones, because our thinking mind is set up to fix problems. It's not set up to tell wonderful stories about how wonderful you are. It's set up to think about what's a problem, and because you're identified with thoughts, then you become a problem. Oh yeah, I asked if anyone wants to speak. Hi Lisa, I was wondering if we could talk via Skype about love and purpose. Yes, for sure. I asked that and then I forgot I'd asked it. Yes, so you can call if you... I'll call you. Hey! Sorry, I forgot that I asked anyone if they wanted to speak.
Oh, yeah, that's, and I jumped at the opportunity, as it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was still, last time we talked, we were actually, we kind of stopped the conversation at divine masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
which yeah, that's kind of been with me for some time because I feel like that's not something that I have really contemplated and I don't think is really talked about so much. I don't know, like I feel like I've heard and spoken a lot about the divine feminine, but the divine masculine, uh, not so much. But I think it kind of maybe dovetails into what you were just talking about recently with, or like just now with the whole sacral
Yeah.
chakra thing. It's kind of, I don't know, when I think masculinity, I think, kind of getting shit done, but so often I've seen it from this kind of shadow place or like kind of a toxic masculinity where it's kind of, in order to fulfill a purpose, I will bulldoze everyone and everything to get there, including my own emotional needs.
Yeah.
That's the kind of masculinity that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, yeah, I guess I'm kind of wondering like, because I kind of see in myself that, this kind of, there's a loving one-pointedness um, that's kind of arising. It feels like a very masculine energy. Um, but I don't know. I guess yeah. I'm just kind of like wondering how one fulfills desires and a sense of purpose from love. Maybe
Yeah.
that's you know.
I think basically everybody's body has the answer. Like everybody, like when I say everybody, it sounds like I'm saying everybody is in the person, but I mean everybody, the physical body, has the answer.
Right.
Like so, your
Every
body,
space,
yeah, every what? Sorry.
like every space body, like it's two
Yeah,
different words.
yeah, yeah. Every space body.
Yeah. Every space body.
Yeah, you get existential. Yeah. So actually, it already is existential. What am I saying? But everybody. I'm so used to this subject. Like I've been into it since I was so young that it's so normal for me. It's hard for me to think about it not being here or not having that in your everyday consciousness. Because so it's like I'm not used to it. Like my mom, I don't have many people or friends in my life that aren't into this subject. So my mom is maybe one, but she even has some knowledge of it because of me. Very little. But... Okay, so back to the subject. So everybody has the answer right there. So you have all the answers inside of you intuitively. You know everything of what to do and what not to do. And you know how to act. And you know the right things to do. You know exactly in every moment the right answer or what you want to do. But then what happens is that you've got this image that you're trying to live up to of what you need to be. So you know how to be the divine masculine. You know exactly how to act from that. But then on top of that, you've got this image that you're trying to live up to, and this is what pulls you out of being truly yourself. It's not so much about thinking mind. Like the thinking mind gets a bad rap. The thinking mind is an amazing tool to process information and to understand information, but it's living up to this image of yourself. And predominantly what you want to live up to is you want to be successful. And it's ironic because that wanting to be successful is what brings in the neurotic masculine and what brings in the bulldozer and what brings in like that focus on just like your needs, or not saying that you've got that, but I'm just talking about it. So it's what brings in that element, because when you're trying to live up to the image of yourself, it's so important that you have a good image of yourself. Like you're always trying to, in your particular circumstance, create the best image of self, which then encourages the bad image of self. because our thinking mind, our images are always comparison. So your image of the perfect you is always in comparison. Like it's always in comparison to something, and that comparison gives you a bad image of yourself as well. So let's take goodness for an example. Like, and this, like, we can break this down again at another point, because also the contemplation of goodness and the attempt to interact in a good way is something that we need to reflect on as well. But we're just going to take this as an example. Can I just ask, do you have headset in, because there's an echo happening?
One second, I do. It's in my pocket, but not in the pants that I'm currently wearing. Hold on. Yep.
That's okay.
Just one moment.
I kept hearing myself talk back.
Yeah, I actually moved to a new apartment, so I think the acoustics in here are a bit different from.
Thank you.
How about that?
Yeah, that's better. Well,
Okay,
there's a little bit of feedback, but not as bad as it was.
Okay.
So let's just take goodness as an example. So, and we need this functioning on a human level to some extent, but when it's related to the image of yourself. So say you have a very strong sense of goodness and what's right and wrong, like you have a strong sense of empathy and a very strong sense of what's good at. And so in your head, you have an image of what you have to live up to, what's acceptable for you. And then what you're always being haunted by is your shadow, is the dark side. So it's like your body might have urges to eat meat, or your body might have urges to have like really like aggressive sex or something, or your body might have urges to like to go and buy like really bad stuff that's really bad for the environment. But that's not acceptable to this image of you. So then what you do is you push that down in your image of yourself, and then you maintain and hold on to this. And then you might get really angry with people that aren't good on the outside, that don't do good things on the outside. And what you're doing when you're living in an image of yourself is you're always comparing yourself to the outside world, to the inside world. Now, doing good things, and I'm not saying that we have to totally deny the language of goodness and badness. It's important to be able to intellectually identify when someone's acting inappropriately. And it's good to identify like the best actions you can do. You identify it, but then you let the body digest that information. And then again, you still act from your essence, from that which is deeper than the image of yourself. So it's like you take in this information of what's good and what's bad and what's good for the environment, but then you let the body act naturally. Like you like let your body navigate in the moment. Like, so if you're picking between like something that's got loads of pesticides on it and grown in like really bad conditions, as opposed to something that's really healthy, you then still let your body choose. Like you still let that your body like be the primary decider, rather than this image of what you need to be, like this image of being like an organic vegan that that like does all these things. So
Yeah.
so it's
A
really,
California type.
yeah. Yeah. So it's important that we tell stories about ourselves. Like, I don't mean to deny it, like deny storytelling. Like the reason we tell stories about ourselves is in order to navigate our society, navigate relationships, and navigate our environment. But it's that we should put the information in, and then we let the body respond. It's this middle bit that's claiming an image of you and trying to live up to the image of you, and that's what actually will make toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. Like, that's what will make it like do these types of things. Like on the natural level, your natural feeling is always to give, and that's love. Like to be in this state of giving, and that's true love is being in this feeling of giving, this place of like wanting to contribute and wanting to give something. Not a neediness, not like trying to get love from people, not trying to get money from people, like trying to get things from people. It's this natural way of giving. That doesn't mean that you're not really good at business. You can still do business and be in a place of giving. It is a different way of operating. It's not trying to retain everything for you. So it's like you do it from a place, a natural place. So in every moment you have to follow what you feel like doing on the bodily level. And if you don't follow what you feel like doing, it's understanding it and seeing what you're doing. And in that's where you'll become the harmonious male. Like, I don't think it's like a set thing that it has to be like this or it has to be like that. I don't, like, I'm sure there's qualities of it that we could talk about, but I don't think it's a fixed thing. I think it will manifest in each person differently. Like, there'll be different characteristics. I get the sense that it's a really supportive place. Like, the male, the masculine role is like a supporting, it's like a holding space. Like, so in non-duality, like, consciousness is the masculine, and the I am, the life, the beingness, that sense of being that this is the feminine. So in Hinduism, they have the image of Shiva with, I think it's Kali dancing on his lap. So Shiva is sitting still and Kali dances on his lap. So Kali represents life and Shiva represents that stillness. And I get the sense that that's what happens in relationships as well, whether it be relationship with your boss or work or colleagues. There's this predominantly this holding energy that can hold everything, that can support everything. What do you feel for you your natural masculinity is?
It's well, recently it's been this kind of it's almost like this very, I don't know, like the way that I've seen it so far has been one-pointedness and discrimination. Like, yeah, like when I say discrimination, it's kind of the ability to see, because like what I feel like the past year I've been kind of looking into this sort of divine yes, this all accepting, allowing to take things in. But now there's kind of this, I don't know, it's like a divine no, like like it's like, okay, I don't need to dwell on this, I don't need to, like, it's just kind of the ability to not dwell in certain emotions and negative states, and like just I could simply say no to this and move past it, and that's been quite lovely. It's and along with that has come a sort of a one-pointedness that's a little bit more, how do you say, it's that one-pointedness is something very interesting that's been kind of coming online, because I'm used to, I don't know, sort of concentrating out of fear, out of I must complete this task in order to fill in the blank, survive, and I don't know, there's just something a little bit more, it's like a calm strength, a calm ability to weather any storm, but still keep a focus, a purpose, a resolve maybe in mind.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just kind of been, I don't know, naturally, I don't know, cultivating itself even. And it's nice that what you mentioned at the very start of this talk, that sort of inner trust. There's like a, trusting that, no, the wisdom is here in me.
Yeah,
that's something. I'm sorry?
Your body really knows what to do. It's so intelligent.
I guess there's, as far as that's concerned, I feel like there's just so much in the way of, I don't know, there's just so much noise. There's still so much, how do you say, fear and ambition and so much should, you know, like, how do you say, like these ideals that I have in my head that, I don't know, I feel like they need to be cleared out in a way. They need to be released.
Yeah. And it will, through time, they will change, they will move through, and you will become more yourself on the human level. But also, it can also just change right now. But so this idea that you've got lots of blocks, it can also just change right now. That you can have these blocks, or you can have these uncomfortable feelings, but deeper than that, there's this relaxed energy that knows what to do. Like all of this is happening, even whatever you tell yourself on the conscious level, like all of this is gonna happen the way it does. Like your body is responding prior to you knowing its response. Like your body is so intelligent. So your choices, even though they feel like your choices, your body is actually making its decision. Your body is actually orchestrating you. It's just that you're listening to the more surface levels that are saying it's me doing it, and then saying yes, but this, or I should be this, or I should be that. Like, and then deeper than that, there's this relaxation, and then there's these natural actions that are coming out, and they feel like giving. They feel open and expansive. They're risky as well.
Risky.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
The risky part.
The risky part, yeah.
Yeah. So where I trip up on is empathy for others. So when we're speaking, like I'm really enjoying speaking to you because you're not forcing conversation. Like, so you're just letting it drift into silence when it does. And then I'm doing that as well. To me, that's like a heavenly conversation. That's so lovely for me when someone gives me the permission to just drift off into silence. And I'm always feel like I'm ready to give other people the permission, but I can feel sometimes when I'm speaking to someone that they feel insecure and they feel agitated by the silence. And so then what I'll do is I'll carry on conversation in order to try to relax them. I think a lot of people do that, but that's I think out of all my not following myself, like not following my flow, my natural flow on the body level, that's the one where I predominantly, like, not fail, but predominantly like don't follow my flow because I feel bad for the other person in that conversation. Like I feel it in my body, like the empathy for that person.
I'm sure to some extent that's necessary, though, right? Like establishing comfort. Maybe it's I don't know, like an impersonal strategy somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. You know?
I think it's I think in an ideal society, things would be a lot less complicated and you wouldn't have to do that. I think it's predominantly based in a society that's neurotic. Like there's, like between you and me, doesn't it feel relaxing that we can just drift off into silence?
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is also, no, I also feel that way too. It's almost like there's like an obligation to keep the conversation going. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, between us, it can just kind of drift away. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that it's a society thing. Like, I think it's very difficult to do that in our mainstream society. And because people are so unused to it.
Yeah.
I see it's a lot easier around spiritual people.
It is. It really is. Yeah. Yeah, we're used to the silence a little bit more so, I'd say. But
Yeah.
do you find that that action comes from this silence as well?
What, the action of empathy?
Just action generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, you sort of become see-through. So you're just like, like in a way, if you put it like really extremely, so I'm always trying to bridge like being person and this no person, like not making it too extreme, but yeah, if you put it more in extreme language, it's just nothing acting. It's love acting. It's, or God, you could say, or the mystery acting. So in every moment, you're just relaxing into who you truly are, and you can trust it because it's functioning through this body that's so intelligent that life has created these bodies. They're almost like or like it's like the way that we've created like machinery. Like, they're so intelligent and navigating their environment. And we need conscious thinking. Like, we need to be able to think and perceive our environment to update us. Like, there's traffic works happening here in LA. I don't want to drive there. So the train doesn't work at this time. So we need this information to constantly being updated. But then there can just be a relaxation into that. So then when you act, it's nothing acting. But it does make you a little bit like a little bit like you're a bozo, because you're not constantly thinking about it. So it can make you a little, like almost like you're stoned a little, like a little slower than normal, because you're kind of like in a more relaxed state, like your mind's not working so quickly. And your memory is not working so quickly. And what it does is it actually gets rid of relationships. It gets rid of interactions, and what you're actually dealing with is the person in that moment. So you're actually dealing with the energy of the person, and you're dealing with the situation of the room, the feeling in that room, rather than your image of what's happening in that room or your image of that person. So you're actually dealing with their energy that they're coming to you with. So you're no longer. So when you say, sorry, I keep interrupting you. I don't mean to.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine.
So normally when we go into situations, we're dealing with an image of who we think that person is.
Mm-hmm.
So in this action, so whatever action you do now, whether it be moving your hand or going to say something or speak to me, like when you're just here, when there's just a relaxing into what's happening here, which is all these bodily sensations, these emotions, these feelings and these thoughts, when you relax into it and you're not watching what's happening in time and constantly being identified with the timeline, you begin to lose a sense of who I am, which is quite exciting. And then we can build it up again when we need to speak about something.
Yeah, but I suppose it comes from a different place, right? Like an unidentified place? Is that like?
I don't know. I think I lost the gist of that question.
Yeah, I kind of like. I think what we're talking about is kind of what's there's just this. I just kind of dissolved into this sense of transparency, and then I was trying to make words
Yeah.
after that. So yeah, I think that's. I'm feeling a bit like a bozo right now, but it's good. It's really nice.
It's super
Excuse me.
intimate. It's super intimate. When you're both just here, that's very intimate to be together. Like the image of you and the image of me creates distance. And that begins to dissolve. It's a very intimate experience.
Hmm. It is lovely. I think once upon a time I would have been afraid of it. The dissolution, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like there's love in this moment as well, and it's not the sort of, I don't know, romantic comedy kind of love. It's like there's something very calm. It's like
Yeah.
a calm sweetness.
Yeah. That's your essence. That's the beingness or the amness side, not the I am something, but the beingness side. The consciousness is just empty and still, and then the love is that beingness that this is. And that's where everything comes from, like every urge and every impulse, every experience, the room, the color, the light.
And not to, I don't know, it's kind of this Advaita party pooper kind of coming in saying that, well, it is just an experience.
What you
That,
love.
yeah, because yeah, like there's an like when we're talking about an essence, it's a state, right? Like this calm, this sweetness,
Yeah.
and therefore it's
Something that,
impermanent as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I meant the love that's beyond that, that cannot be perceived. So yes, in the body, the calmness and the sweetness that's being translated in the body, that will come and go and that will change. Your chakra sensations will change. But behind that, in the background, there is this undercurrent of love. And that's always there. And it's not really a feeling. It's the sense that you are. It's the sense that this is. And you've always had that, the sense that this is, that you are. But you don't even need to look for it. It doesn't really matter now. Like even looking at it, it will mean describing it will or could potentially create like the desire to try to obtain it. It's there. Like this sense of being. There's always been consciousness and there's always been this sense of being.
Yeah, and there is this impulse to look for it, but that would be looking for,
Yeah.
an object. So what do I do? So,
Yeah. Ramesh always used to tell this story. Did I tell it to you before? I forget what I say to people about
yeah.
Ramesh. I did.
No, I mean, I've heard a lot of Ramesh stories from you, so I don't know if we're...
This is the one about his little niece, or great niece, that came up and drew him a picture.
No, I don't think I've heard this
So
one.
he said like she was only like 2.5, 3 years old, and he was like 90 years old, and everyone was going out, so he was left babysitting her. So she drew him a picture, and then she showed him, and he was like, "Oh, that's very good, that's very good." And then he put it down, and then she looked at him and she shrugged her shoulders and she said, "And now what do I do?" And he was like really amazed that even at 3 years old, there's always that sense of, what should I do? It's a human dilemma, what to do.
Yeah. And it starts early, yeah.
And then if you think of it like in the other extreme, if you like if you tried everything, so if you were alive for like 1,000 years and you tried everything in this life, like all the things you tried, you like skydiving, you tried all types of meditation practice, like everything. Eventually you'd get sick of all the things there are to do. And you're still here. There's still that watching, and there's still that sense of being here. I know that's not very satisfactory to that element that wants to do, but it's just looking at it for what it is, that it's a feeling that comes up and says, now what? Now what?
Is that impulse what Ramesh would call doership? Is that one and the same, or am I getting my vocabulary mixed up?
Yeah, that's what he would call doership. I don't talk too strongly about these things because on the human level, it seems that a human that's healthy is somebody that focuses on what they want and focuses on like achieving what they want, like has a sense of what they want and then focuses on that achievement. So it's kind of ironic, but it's also seeing that that's not who you are and that's not going to complete you. But like in your day-to-day activity, like in order to complete a day, at the beginning of the day, you have to focus on what it is that you want to do. If you don't focus, then it will all be chaotic, and you need to make your lists, and then you follow through and you do those things, and in that feels good on the human level to have that, to have your goals and then to meet your goals, and that's very natural and that's very normal. And I'm not, when I'm talking about that voice that says, what should I do, like I'm not talking about you not having goals on the human level. I'm talking about that energy that feels like that's who you are and feels that in doing things you will complete yourself. So that other layer of doership that's holding on to your activity, that's holding on to your behavior and saying, this is me and I will find happiness in that. I will find freedom. But actually what you look for is always what you are.
I don't know why I got the giggles all of a sudden. Yeah, I think it was just a bodily release, which is always lovely.
Yeah. Sorry, that's not me, that's Khaleesi. I don't know if you can hear this like growling, or she's going to bark in a minute at me. It's time for her dinner. And
Okay.
so when she's hungry, she sort of stamps her foot and barks at me.
Getting impatient. Come on now. Enough satsang.
Yeah. It's quite sweet. I find it quite endearing, even though I presume it's quite rude in dog language.
Yeah. We let dogs get away with a lot.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know what it is. But I don't know if I told you, my mom and dad, they have dogs, and the way they spoil those dogs, I'm like, why didn't I? I never saw this side of you. But
I know. I remember this one time when I came into the house. I let Khaleesi in. It was when my dad was still alive, and I let Khaleesi in, and then I hear, "Oh, hello, beauty, hello," and they're like kissing her and they're hugging her and they're like, "Are you wonderful? Are you wonderful? Oh, there's the best girl in the world." And then I walk in, they're like, "Oh, hello, Lisa."
Yep.
I'll imagine that was me in Khaleesi. Imagine you're doing that to me. It is really funny the way we treat our dogs.
I know. I guess we don't have the sort of parental projections, on dogs that we do on kids. So that probably has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, just doing their poop in the morning on their morning walk is enough. They're like, "Yeah, you've done it for the day. Good dog."
Yeah, such a good boy. You didn't shit in the house.
Yeah.
I don't shit in the house either, Mom.
Yeah.
You don't. Where's my treat?
Yeah. I also sometimes wonder if it's because we don't have any inhibitions with dogs, so we can just like shower them with as much love as we want. But with other humans, we're a little like.
We don't have a lot of what for dogs?
Inhibitions, like, so we don't like, so our showering of love, like we could say all these wonderful things, but then with other humans you're a little like shy to say all these things or to give them a hug or to appreciate them that much.
Yeah, because you're right. Like, I guess there is a sort of a sense of decorum that you have to have with people, even the people you're super close with. Yeah. I'm gonna start baby talking to all my friends like I do with dogs.
Yeah.
just it's time for a change.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, well, I will go and feed Khaleesi. Thank you so much for calling in and being open and sharing with people. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I always enjoy our talks. So till next time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bishop.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Okay, guys, well, that's the end of today. Khaleesi has determined that I have to feed her now. Well, she settled down a little bit. Okay, I will look at some other questions. Hi Tamara, hi Lisa. Tamara here from the first time. Hello. I get this fear coming up of opening up to everything. I'm afraid of being so vast, so open. I feel like it's past experience of not being accepted as I am. Can you give me some advice on this? Yeah, I think it's the way of the warrior. Like this way is remaining committed to that, to being yourself and to opening up. that you are allowed to be here. You don't have to be a machine in the cog. You don't have to please everybody. You don't have to be successful or be something, just as you are. Nice. I think that's enough. I can see Khaleesi getting activated again, or hear her. Yeah, I wish you lots of love, and I shall see you Sunday at 6 p.m. French time. So thank you very much for sharing and being open. Bye, guys.